New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Tracy Brown here. So glad that you have decided to join in today. Let's talk about inclusive churches, what they are, how we get them, how we keep them, how we grow them. How do we know what is important for us to do? And today I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, thinking about that, because there's no one right single answer that applies to everyone. The only thing that applies to everyone is that we all must do something. What exactly we do will be different for different people. It will be different from community to community, from church to church. That doesn't make it bad. It makes it customized to whatever is the focus in your church, whatever is the gift, the talent, the skills that each one of us brings. And so it's a really healthy conversation to be had about what is mine to do. And so if you are hanging out, and I can see a dozen folks hanging out, if you want to be like Anita, feel free to say good afternoon or good morning or good evening in the chat. If depending on what social media you're on, it might be in the comment section. So we are just about midway into January, the first month of 2026, at the time that we are doing this live. And in the first 2 weeks of the year, I've spent quite a bit of time personally prioritizing what is mine to do with all the different things that I'm involved in my life. And I have spent quite a bit of time strategizing for the year, specifically related to the What Is Mine to Do Facebook group, which focuses on interrupting race-based hatred and violence, which is right just one aspect of the bigger inclusion responsibility. But the What Is Mine to Do Facebook group focuses specifically on interrupting and ending race-based hatred, race-based violence, and the nature of that showing up in our individual relationships every place that we go. For our conversation here today and our thinking here today, we can start with that, but then I want to expand it into a bigger conversation. And then the third thing that I want to do today is to give you some questions to ask yourself, or if you're a leader in a spiritual community, questions that you can use with people in that church so that others can also find their grounding individually, and the church can have some grounding and understanding about what's now and what's next. So the first verse of the theme song for the What Is Mine to Do Facebook group, the lyrics, here are the lyrics for the first verse. The world keeps shouting answers from every point of view. But in the quiet of my conscience, there's a question breaking through. No flag, no throne, no power can tell my heart what's true. It's the voice of my own spirit asking what is mine to do. Now, of course, I love this. But the thinking behind it was the idea that inclusion can be legislated. Like so often we say our elected leaders need to, make some new laws or enforce the laws that already have been passed. But that this idea that really there's, whether the laws are changed or not, whether the laws are enforced or not, there's still something for me to do. And it doesn't matter who is in power and who is not. Now, different people in power, quote unquote power, or in leadership may shift the environment and conditions. It might be easier or it might be harder, depending on who is in leadership, who are the elected leaders, who are the ministers at my church, who are, right? It can be an influence, but ultimately is that external power cannot dictate what my heart knows, what spirit has said to me, what spirit is saying to me. And that's the guidance that I want to look for and then also follow. If obey is too strong of a term for you, I want to follow that guidance that comes from the depth of my being, the purity of the divinity within me. So, and I love that first line of the world keeps shouting answers from every point of view, because it's true, right? If you come to the inclusive church show, I'm going to give you Tracy's point of view and encourage you to find your own. But in social media, in the broadcast news, in Substack posts, everywhere I go, there's somebody who is shouting, here's the answer to the problem that, as I see it, here's the problem you need to be paying attention to. And so ultimately, that's all good information. It's data for me to consider. But I ultimately have to go inside and look for the answer. The next part of the lyrics in the song say, I can't wait for the future and I can't blame the past. This moment right here, I got to look in the mirror and make a choice. Well, the lyrics say, this moment is my mirror, this choice is mine at last. But really, that's where we are. And that's how I want us to go into this year. I want to encourage you to go into this year really taking responsibility for, yes, what you want to see and experience in the future, but definitely not blaming the past. It's done. Right. And so, based on what I imagine for the future, what's mine to do right now, that contributes to that. So, I've shared some of the lyrics from the What Is Mine to Do song. I'm going to play it for you. It's about 4 minutes long. So, just enjoy it. And then we'll come back and talk about a little bit more of how that applies not only as it relates to race-based hatred and violence, but to building an inclusive church in your spiritual community.
The world keeps shouting answers from every point of view, but in the quiet of my conscience, there's a question breaking through. No flag, no throne, no power can tell my heart what's true. It's the voice of my own spirit saying, what is mine? Can't wait for the future, can't blame the past. This moment is my mirror, this choice is mine. What is mine to do when the old age shows its face? What is mine to do when I'm standing in that place? I won't pass through another, won't turn and walk away. I will be the interruption, I will choose a better way. What is mine to do? And now, today, I was handed so many stories before I even knew my name. Some were written in fear, some were written in pain. But the pen's now in my fingers and the page is clean and new. Every line is a decision, every breath is what I'm done with silent comfort, I'm done with borrowed sight. I'm learning how to stand strong and stay here in the fight. What is mine to do? The old age shows its face. What is mine to do? When I'm standing in that place, I won't pass it to another, I won't turn and walk away. I will be the interruption, I will choose a better way. What is mine to do? Starting now, today. The world is changing kitchens, and we're face to face. And every single moment when our hearts heart is true, that love is not feeling, it's the things we feel too. This is mine to do, with my voice and with my hands. This is mine to do, where I live and where I stand. I won't pass it to another, I won't turn and walk walk away. I will be the interruption. I will choose a better way. This is mine to do. This is mine to do. Starting now, today, the work that we are claiming assigns a different task. Our strength is in the committed few who choose to no longer ask, what should others do? And instead start answering the question that changes everything. What is mine to do? Right now and every day.
Well, I hope you're applauding too. I love this song and I love the message of it because it reminds us that it really is up to us to take action, not just to think the thoughts or hope for a different outcome. And as I mentioned before, it is the theme song for the What Is Mine to Do Facebook group, which does focus on interrupting or ending race-based hatred and violence. And when we talk about inclusive churches, that is one element that you have to choose from. But the message and the point of the message is true for all of the different dimensions of diversity that we are looking at and considering for our spiritual communities and our churches. So if in the commitment in your church, you have already made a commitment to really focus on multi-generational inclusion, the question is still valid. What is mine to do to make sure that our church is not only welcoming, but demonstrates appreciating, including, engaging, serving, supporting, teaching, and valuing people from all age groups? What are we doing? What is mine to do to move beyond the story of the past? If your church has made a commitment to serve people who are online equally with the people who show up in the building when you have services or meetings or classes, then the question is still valid. What is mine to do? I can't wait for the future, and I sure can't blame the past and use that as an excuse. This moment right now is when I look in the mirror, it's what I'm doing right now that demonstrates what it is that I choose to prioritize. So again, I'm actually not stuck on you need to focus on race or sexual orientation or gender identity or online and offline presence or having younger people in your congregation or people preparing people to support and to engage with folks who are on the spectrum or neurodiversity. Like I am not attached to you selecting the same things that I would select, but I am attached to you and to your church having a really clear understanding and commitment to something. And so once you have that, then the question becomes, how do you demonstrate that? In the past weeks, like literally since the first of the year, I've been working with a community that actually has chosen race and racism and race relations as their primary focus, which makes sense for their community where they are located and the commitments that they have in the community where their church is based. I also, in the last 2 weeks, have done some significant work with a church that is really focusing on gender identity, but also having 4 or 5 smaller efforts that are related to young adult ministry, Spanish language ministry, and interfaith connections in the community. And so it's a larger church. It can have more than one focus, right? And the question still has been, okay, but what is yours to do right now and why? So the line in the song that says, I will be the interruption, right? I won't turn and walk away. I will be the interruption. I will be the one who interrupts the old pattern. I will be the one that doesn't pretend that this isn't happening, or that I will not be the one to pretend everything is okay when it's not. This is critical. And so one of the questions individually we have to answer is, of course, on the big scale, what is mine to do? But what am I no longer willing to walk away from? That I will be willing to speak up. I will be willing to ask a question. I will be willing to point out that if we do this or say this, it's out of alignment with what we have said we are prioritizing. So on an individual level, it's really important to think about that. What is mine to do, and how will I demonstrate being the interruption to old patterns? Because, right, we both know that just because we make a commitment to change doesn't mean the old pattern or the old habits go poof. No, in fact, when we make a commitment to change something that has been a pattern over time, conscious or unconscious, it shows up even more because now we're paying attention to it. Now we're saying we want something different. So we notice or feel or are affected by something that we pretty much just either didn't see before, or we maybe even thought it was impossible. So individually, we do need to ask the overarching question, what is mine to do? But more importantly, how will I be an interruption to the old pattern when it shows up? Because it will. Then on the community or church level, as leaders, we also have to either educate, we get to educate people in our communities about what behaviors are we striving for. And if you're really good, you engage people in your community in developing some expected behaviors, like build some new agreements about what does it look like to interrupt the old pattern in a healthy or acceptable way. And if you can do that with a group of people versus you individually just dictating it, it has a higher likelihood of working. Another question that you want to ask yourself, and especially you want to have discussion about it in your church with a group of leaders or with a group of congregants, is the question, what's the desired outcome? Now, what's the desired outcome? How will we know when this prayer demonstrates? How will we know when this new standard has become a part of our culture, our new way of being? This is important because so often what happens is we are clear, we are focused on what we no longer want. And we'll tell you, we no longer want people in our virtual community to feel like they're second-class citizens. That's what I don't want. Okay, so what do I want? Well, often we'll just say, well, we want them to feel like they're a part of the community. Okay, that's a good start, but what does that look like? What does that feel like? What would they be saying that would let us know that they feel integrated into the community? What would they be doing that gives us the feedback, tangible feedback, not in words, but in action, behavior, and environment, right? That we've closed this gap. Oh, so when I say, be able to ask the question, what's our desired outcome? Make sure that that is described in either tangible, observable behavior or tangible events, expressions, the way that things play out, the way that planning occurs, the checklist that you have. All of that is the kind of desired outcome conversation you want to have as you're defining what is mine to do and what is ours to do as a church in order to achieve our goal that we are committing to. And remember, when we make our commitment to inclusion, it's not always to solve what we might label a problem. Often I'll ask people, why do you want to be inclusive? And I get sometimes the most ridiculous answers. Oh, because it's the right thing to do. Oh, because it's the topic that, that the minister has brought up. Oh, it's right. It's like, okay, yeah, great. And then sometimes I get answers like, because gender inequality is wrong and it hurts so many women in our church. Okay. And those are all valid. So I'm not saying okay, like, okay, that's a wasted answer, because I don't mean that. It's a good answer. And be aware that sometimes you're not trying to fix something that's broken. Sometimes your commitment to inclusion is about being pulled by a vision you have for the future of the world that you live in, reflecting the harmony of God, the oneness, the principle of oneness that you teach. And maybe that implies it's not happening now, but it may not be in the news. It may not be a topic that is, on the list of the most difficult challenges your church is facing right now. And it still can be a very high priority as part of your strategic plan and your strategic activity. So be able to answer that question. And as you're talking with people in your church, what is the desired outcome? So, and then when you get that, please have a conversation and be thinking about, well, what are our next steps? What are 3 things we could be doing in 2026 that would close the gap a little bit and move us in that direction? Because you're not probably going to get there in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 12. But what are the goals that you want to set that are helping you to cement progress, to build progress, to build momentum toward that goal? and those desired outcomes. So please, within yourself, contemplate what is mine to do. And as a leader in a church that is committed to inclusion, then also really plan out how you can be having this conversation with people, leaders, and congregants who may not be in a leadership role. How can you have the conversation about what is mine to do for the church and involve them in that conversation? So that's what I got for you this week. I'm going to be continuing through the end of the month thinking about this, what is mine to do, with Inclusive Church, with the What Is Mine to Do Facebook group focused on race, interrupting race-based hatred and violence. I'm going to be thinking about what is mine to do in the work that I do in corporations around leadership and inclusion strategy. So January is a big month for really talking and thinking about what is mine to do. I'll be back with you next week, and I hope that you will remember to tune in next Tuesday and every Tuesday at noon Mountain Time, right here on the New Thought Media Network. My name is Tracy Brown. I'll see you again soon.
Thanks for watching The Inclusive Church with Tracy Brown. Join us again next week at 12 noon Mountain Time.